And yes, guys, we are back here once again for the next installment of the Big Brother 20. Installment, the next video talking about this week of Big Brother 28. Now, technically, we've already talked about the start of week 2. I did that in my video a couple days ago with Sean Dyro. We covered everything that went down on Sunday's episode. But there was a lot, obviously, that happened. This was quite the eventful week, at least for a bit. Seemed like it was shaping up to be one of the most exciting weeks in Big Brother history. And while I don't know if it necessarily hit that mark, in some areas it certainly did. I do think that this week showed us that there's a lot of potential for this season. There's things I'm definitely starting to get a little bit worried about, and I'll get into that when we delve deeper into some of the things that went down this week. But there's also a lot that I'm really excited to see at this point. And this is starting to turn into one of those seasons where, I kind of like different people on both sides, and so there's not necessarily like someone I'm outright rooting for, but I think that's what makes it exciting at the end of the day. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. But of course, I am not alone for this video. I do have a guest with me, someone who I've been hoping. Well, okay, I guess you rushed your introduction there. It's someone who I've been hoping to get back since our Survivor stuff earlier in the year. He was really great there. He's back to talk about Big Brother. Here it is, Mike Jones.
Hi, Kevin.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. So as usual, before we get into everything going on this week, I'm going to ask you the same 2 questions I've asked every single guest that has come on. First of all, your expectations for Big Brother 28 going into the season, and how have you felt about this season overall so far?
Well, Big Brother's kind of a newer thing for me. Like, I only recently started watching in the last couple of years. Sorry, late bloomer here. My fault, y'all. Whereas like Survivor, I just had this encyclopedic knowledge of everything. So I'm not one of those people that has it's not as good as it used to be mindset, because I'm sure that probably is true, because nothing's as good as it was back in the day. But I think my expectation this season was, I knew there'd be people from other shows coming in, so like that's obviously a hook. But I don't know. I was just kind of hoping for just not a lot of twist screwery. And so far this season, it's interesting. I think the live feeds have been giving drama, which is what I want out of Big Brother. This cast seems like they're a little dramatic in a good way, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think I'm at a point where I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel about this season. I think there's been some really promising stuff early on. There is, like I said, some stuff I'm concerned about. There's some people on this cast I'm really not a fan of also, but, that's just kind of the luck of the draw when it comes to Big Brother. But we'll go ahead and just jump into this week because, Mike, there is a lot to talk about, especially the first episode that we're discussing. Like I said, I think while this week didn't turn out to be one of the best weeks in Big Brother history, the Wednesday episode for me is like textbook what a great Big Brother episode should be. Everything we get in the episode leading up to the eviction, I thought was just so exciting to watch, and honestly covers everything pretty well. There's not a lot of stuff they left out here. I feel like for the most part, they kind of covered a little bit of everything. There's some things in tonight's episode that I think they kind of edited weirdly, and we'll talk about that. But let's just jump into everything that happens because we really waste no time getting right back into where we left off with the whole house exploding during the nomination ceremony. We see Jason calls this Angela's HOH. She calls a house meeting, and it just kind of goes from there. We see that the two of them go back and forth a bit. One of my favorite moments is, she brings up about him using his sexuality, preying on her emotions. And he goes, "I'm not feeling sexual for you." I thought that was a great line from him. I love, they kind of go back and forth a bit about how Jason didn't feel secure and was unsure if people would accept him, but now he has deceived her the second he can. But he talks about how his feelings were real, tries to call him out for being a messy boy, and Jason pleads for America to kind of hate him. And Mike, what was your reaction to this whole thing? Because the big thing about this, I think, in terms of why this was so significant, is the fact that not only was this something that we knew was we knew that there was a moment where Angela was eventually going to go off on somebody. But the difference is this time, this is something that's been building up for a couple days now. And the feeds actually came back like in the middle of this. This was not like what's been happening recently where it's like they put the feeds on at the tail. Right. They put the feeds on at like the tail end of something, or it's like a few moments after it's happened and everyone's kind of calmed down. We actually got to see like the full like nitty gritty of what was going down. And I think it made it that much more exciting. What did you think of this moment?
I mean, look, if I'm watching reality TV, I want to see mess. I don't understand this mentality. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, we need like super, super toxic. No, I don't need that. But like, I need to see conflict. I need to see everything. So for me, seeing these two go at it, I mean, do I think what Jason did was a little odd? But, you know, it didn't feel like it crossed any kind of boundaries to being like icky or gross or like, you know, going past into, I don't know, anything like personally offensive. But look, I mean, when you have two personalities like that, they're going to clash. And I want to watch it. I want to see it. Angela was giving in her first season. And for someone who said, I want to play differently this season, it seems like she did that for like a week.
Yeah, she's right back to where I will say what I will give her this time around is that the things that she was calling Jason out for, he did actually do. This is not like her just like randomly thinking this and like in her bed and just going off on Matt for no reason, which I mean, I want people to go off on Matt.
Which I think actually makes her, I don't want to say worse, but when now she has something tangible to grab onto, it's not just like, this is all in her head, and if you could like talk her down that way, she's like, no, I know this happened because she probably got a lot of Angela would just grab things out of nowhere. I mean, we all remember her going into the HOH room. I think I'm going home, and then being like, no, like you get someone like that, something tangible to grab onto, they're gonna run all the way with that, and I was here for it.
Oh yeah, it was a great moment. And I mean, what's great, especially about the way they edited this, is that it doesn't stop from here. There seems like a point where, we see, like I said, she calls him out. We get this great moment from Barrett also, where he calls them Humpty Dumpty and Green Goblin. I thought that was a really great moment. But we see the Devens, he tries to diffuse the situation. He gives Angela back her hat, dismisses everyone, but they just continue to go at it. Now, this is not completely accurate. When he said this nomination ceremony is adjourned, it actually ended there. But I actually like the way they edited this, where like he keeps trying to end it. He keeps getting cut off. It's just not happening. We see they continue to go at it. Jason assures her he can never hate her because it's a game. Haley then calls him out because, of course, she does. She does that with fucking everybody. Basically brings up how he wanted to take out all the women, which he kind of retorts by saying that he was lying to her. Devin tries to back her in, saying that he told white lies to all the girls to keep them comfortable so that he can then put all of them up. And then Jason again says that this was a lie, but he did not fall for it. And Angela jumps back in saying that he has no credibility. I love the moment also where like Jason goes to Devins and is like, well, you believe it. And he's like, no, I didn't. I mean, again, this was what's great about Jason here in this moment is that he's not trying to bullshit. He's actually being straight up and being like, yep, I was lying. Yep, I was deceiving you. Like, I kind of love the fact that he was doing that. It's very refreshing to see someone just own up to the fact that, yeah, this is what I was doing and not try to act, not try to be like the hero in the situation. Like Jason recognizes that like, yes, I was being messy. I'm sorry for being that way. That's just how I'm playing the game. And I think it's good that Jason kind of sees it as like, this is simply just a game. He even talks to Angela later and he's like, listen, I know things are going to be awkward between us. I kind of want us to be able to like, work things out. I understand if you don't want to talk to me and things like that. And I really did respect that about Jason. I've seen Jason getting a lot of hate. And here's the thing. There are issues I have with Jason's gameplay for sure. Do not take that as me not liking Jason as a person, because I actually really do like the way that he goes about this. I feel like a lot of people, again, would try to act like Angela's in the wrong for what she's doing. But instead, he tells her that, like, no, I get why you freaked out like that. I messed up, and let's try to hopefully move forward if we can. I understand. I don't know, Mike. I found that to be very refreshing. I think that's why also this was such a fun moment to watch, because Jason really just understood the entertainment of it all.
Oh, and he definitely does. And I think, you have two people with reality TV show background. I mean, one coming from Big Brother, one coming from Drag Race, which is another show I don't watch.
No, me either.
Like, Jason knows what he's doing. He knows he's bringing drama to the house. And the problem is, though, it's like if you've already said something to someone and then you backtrack later on it, what it becomes is like, okay, were you lying to me then, or are you lying to me now about lying then? So it's like when you start talking out of both sides of your face, it's a little tricky. So I think that partially has something to do with our friend Jason here.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely the problem here, is that what he's saying, he actually did do. We see Drew is feeling responsible for all this because he's the one who brought it to Angela. Rome then finally chimes in. He's got this great moment where he's like, you had your monologue, let me talk now. And basically, Angela claims that he said to put Lala's head in a silver platter. He tries to defend himself, but I think honestly comes across worse here by basically saying that, like, listen, Devens is a great ball player. I needed to, I needed to boil down my list, and I boiled it down, and I'm sorry for those I left out. And again, I think Rome comes out of this conversation looking really bad because he's basically saying that, like, yeah, listen, I had to pick the ones that were most important to me, and you weren't included in that, so that's why. Like, and it's like, sure, they're not on the block, but essentially what Rome is saying here is it's like, Jason and Lyric are the people I care about. The rest of you are kind of just here. And I think this was kind of a bad moment for Rome here. We see that Devens does finally dismiss them, but that's still not the end of it. Haley makes this snide remark, as she typically does, about how she felt she was on the other side of that. Rome goes ahead and calls her a snarky bitch, which really gets Barrett and Kamu riled up. They kind of get, they're trying to diffuse the situation. He calls her unbearable. He says that she has been this whole week. And we did not hear specifically what Rome said when the feeds cut for a little bit around this moment. So this is the first time we're really seeing it. We did see him call her unbearable and things like that, which, I mean, not a bad word to describe her considering how what we've seen of Haley on the feeds. I'm starting to warm up to her a little bit in the sense where, like, at least she calls people out, and I'll give her that. But the things she says, I really don't like, and things like that. Mike, how did you feel about Rome in this situation? How do you feel he went about this?
Yeah, not great.
No.
For someone who's trying to save this person, it just, it's like, what do they say on a plane when, like, the oxygen thing comes down?
Yeah.
You have a kid with you. You have to put it on yourself before you can. And I think if his goal was to save other people by digging his own grave, it worked. Brilliant plan there. But yeah, I think Rome, in the edit on the show, I think they were trying to make him, like, he's trying to come off as, like, the good guy, like we're supposed to root for him, but I wasn't rooting for him here.
Yeah, I had a hard time really liking Rome as well throughout this week. I feel like this fight, it kind of brought out the worst in him. You saw a lot of, like, his worst tendencies kind of come to.
They usually do.
Oh, yeah, very much the case. And you really did kind of see that here. So that ends up happening. Finally, the fight kind of diffuses itself. We see Melody and Lyric, though, they have this conversation about how they're really hoping that they're going to win this veto. Melody feels like she's playing a really bad game, and the kid kind of sitting alone at lunch, and she's made every single wrong decision. And I will say, Melody in this episode makes what happens later on all the more infuriating for me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. You already know what I'm talking about because I talked about it in the last podcast I did, but the decision that Devens decides to make at the end of this episode, and seeing Melody's like endless confessionals about her wanting to, like, separate herself and, like, change her gameplay up, it just made me all the more mad, Mike. Honestly, like, it made me that much more annoyed at the decision.
There's a reason she thinks she's playing like shit, because she is.
Right, but I think that I think she was, but I do think she has turned things around, and I do think she recognizes, like, hey, I have an opening here, and I think, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Lyric feels that Devens is making a massive mistake in doing this. It shows that he can't be trusted. She especially doesn't like that she's gone up to get out Rome, basically. So again, we'll talk about Lyric a little bit later, but big episode for Lyric for sure. Big week for Lyric in general. So we see that Lala is in tears and Taylor's comforting her and says that they should just lay low and let them kill each other. And I like that Taylor is feeling this way. I like her sort of mentality here. I just wish that we got to see a little bit more of her as a game player. I feel like she's kind of lying low right now, which is not the worst thing in the world for her. But as we see in this episode, maybe it is, because clearly she's not quite in as much as she thinks she is as to like what's going on. Mike, how are you feeling about Taylor so far?
Who? I don't know. Like I said, there's some people that I'm just not clicking with.
Yeah.
Taylor's there. I need more. Give me more.
Yeah, I feel like Taylor is someone that like she has so much potential and she has like decent reads on what's going on. She just needs to be like a lot more of an active game player. And I worry that she only has so much more time to do that until people just kind of see her as like easy pickings, because she's not really with anyone. She's not really involved in anything. And I just kind of worry for Taylor here. But I thought this was a good moment from her.
I mean, like really all I know from Taylor so far really is that she doesn't like Devens. And she stayed on a unan vote last week. Good for her.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like poking with a stick. Do something.
Yeah, we need more from her.
And my fear with this season, I don't know if it's something that you've talked about before, but like my fear is that we have these like kind of big personalities here that I think are going to kind of swallow up these other, and then I'm hoping that it doesn't turn to like just like dominant group going all the way to like 8 together, and it doesn't get interesting till they have to turn on each other.
I've definitely been concerned about that, and that it is admittedly a concern that I have. I would love to see someone outside that group win this next HOH, for example, but I am becoming less concerned that it's going to be like a total steamroll, just because of how much paranoia is like erupting through that group. There's so many things that are going on, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but I don't think we're going to see the steamroll that we think, and if we do, it's literally just because they're the only ones that can win things, which we've seen before is not the case. So I am hopeful that this next HOH will hopefully give us somebody that's not crossovers or Toolshed or whatever. We'll have to see though.
I mean, when you got D and Devens, who we know D can win things. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of D, she has this moment where she's ecstatic about how this went. She didn't expect the fireworks, but this was even better. Everyone's looking at each other. No one's looking at her. She tells Devens this was better for her. Even winning Survivor, a great line from her was great. Was happy that ended up in the episode here. I did want to talk about Lala real quick. She feels really like taken advantage of knowing Rome didn't try to save her this week. She kind of feels stupid and she's blindsided by all of this. And I definitely do feel bad for Lala to a degree, although they don't really show this on the show. This kind of lasted like 5 seconds, and then she kind of just like went back to Rome, which I think is a little frustrating. I think Lala's someone who like desperately needs to pivot, and I'm just not sure if she's going to. We'll have to see what happens with Lala. But Haley, Kamu, and Chuk talk about what just happened. Haley's really just upset how Rome talked to her. Chuk feels like that was the craziest nomination ceremony he's ever seen, with how quickly everything blew up, except for Red Corner, of course. We do then get this moment with Rome comforting Lala. He apologized to her for kind of making her feel that way. He feels betrayed. He feels a betrayed her. It hurts so bad because she's done nothing but love her since he walked in. She tells him that he needs to buck up because they have things to do tomorrow, and they're now kind of in redemption mode. And a lot of people were talking about this. Rome has like a cry face that makes it seem like he's like insincere when he's talking. I do feel he was sincere in this moment. I do feel like he generally did feel like he hurt Lala with how he was crying, with how he reacted. It's just unfortunate that he has that like face that looks like he's not actually upset.
It just looks like it.
It's like, guys, I'm so upset.
Yeah, it's like I can't even like think of the right phrase. It just seems like I don't know. I don't want to say B movie acting, but it's just very like
yeah,
it's
like, very over the top. Yeah,
it's like Spencer Bledsoe.
Okay, yeah, that's I I can definitely understand the comparison. Yeah. I think the problem is that, again, it's coming, he's genuine in what he's doing. It's just the face itself doesn't seem sincere, but she does forgive him, but she's not really trusting him anymore. I would beg to differ with stuff we saw in the feeds, but that's just me. We see Rome goes to Devens and actually tells him he understands his rationale and there's no really bad blood between them, but this just makes Devens even more adamant on putting him on the block, because it's like, if he can take this that well, that shows that he's like a really sensible guy, and I kind of need him out now because he's going to be a really big threat. And I understand Devens' logic here, where it's like, yeah, I mean, sure, you're fine with it, but now I'm even more poised to.
Well, it's like, why are you so fine?
Right, exactly. Like, why are you so easily able to like move past this? I think that was kind of like,
like you want him to be like, well, great, now I'm screwed and I'm gonna go home. For someone to get put up and like in a back door and they're like, it's cool. You're thinking like, okay, you must feel really comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So we see the vets meet up. Angela at first attempts to apologize to Devens because that's what she's used to doing when she has meltdowns. It's like she has to apologize to people because it was bad what she did. She was going off of information that didn't exist. She was throwing people under the bus, but she didn't do that this time. And so Devens is like, it's cool. That's what I wanted you to do. Like, it's okay. And so they have this like prayer circle that I thought was particularly really funny, where like they join hands and basically Angela talks about like she held it in for a few days, but she cracked and now the yoke is on them. They will let them take all the heat now. Mike, are you here for all the egg puns that they do throughout this?
I'm here for it. It's fun.
I thought it was fun. They definitely had a lot of fun with it, I thought. So
it was fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I do think Angela was probably the best person.
I think Angela's the perfect person to do I think Vince got this punishment last season.
Yep.
And, it's just everything Vince did just always felt so contrived and forced.
Yeah.
I think Angela just is kind of made for this. She has that kind of like, she's like your corny school teacher.
Yeah.
To the point it's kind of like, oh God, but it's like kind of endearing. So I think she was perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Just
she could just do anything.
And they got so much good content out of her too. Like, I definitely, if you're gonna use this costume again, I think Angela was the best person to get it. So exactly. I was definitely a big fan of all they did with this. So Lyric and Melody then are kind of struggling for what to do. Generally, they seem kind of stumped here, but Melody makes it clear. And this is a really bad moment for Melody. She doesn't really trust Jason or Rome. She trusts her and Drew, and that's it. And she feels like this was like a big moment for her to reassess her game. But again, this is the same issue that Melody, I think, has been having in this game, where it's like, it's good to pivot your game, but you should not be saying this to Lyric of all people, that like, hey, I don't trust your boyfriend. I don't trust.
Yeah, not a good call.
Yeah, like I get what Melody's trying to do. You're not talking to the right person here. This is a conversation you should be having with Drew, not with Lyric, who's obviously going to go back to Rome and now has all the ammunition, if she wanted to use this against you. Now, she doesn't do that, and I think honestly, more like good on her that she doesn't, because Melody's a great ally for her, but she could have used this against Melody if she wanted to. And so just not really a great moment from her at all. But basically she goes to talk to Devens and apologizes for getting her caught up in all of that, says that she's actually the one he feels he could salvage the most. And he does kind of see an opportunity in working with her, but also knows how close she is with Drew. Melody doesn't necessarily want to work with him after he just put up her in Lyrics. So she kind of wants to channel all of that by winning the veto. And again, another segment that just made me that much more annoyed at what Devens decides to do later. Cause it's like, you have a golden opportunity here to pull in somebody who is literally saying she wants to jump ship from her people. It's like, cool, come over to our side. And instead you're just like turning her away. I don't know. I was fairly frustrated by
it. Which again, I mean, if you're doing stuff like that, you must feel pretty damn comfortable.
Yeah.
But there is also a part of me that kind of feels like Devens just kind of like, fuck it, we ball. This whole I feel like he knows he's not going to win this season. They're not going to let him.
No.
They're not going to let him win. So I think he's just here for the.
Especially after this week, there's no way. There's
I think he's just here to have fun and just be on TV and.
I could definitely
I don't know. I kind of feel like he's just kind of like here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so unprofessional.
Yeah, it sucks that I get calls on my phone. One second. Give me 1 second here. Stall for time.
Okay, so oh my God, I'm not prepared for this. So all right, hello everyone. I'm not good at this. So I don't really know what to do here. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell all of you that Distortion Survivor.
Okay, that was quick. I just had to call my friend and tell her I was doing a podcast, and she hung up right away. So,
anyway, where were we?
But so back to, like we said with Devens, like I agree with you. He's not going to be here that long, but I do think even at that, like use that opportunity to like pull Melody into your group where it's like, maybe I'm not going to be here long, but I want to make sure my group succeeds. So like, let me do all I can to make sure we can leverage the connection we have with her. But I don't know. It was just very frustrating. So Rome goes to Lyric, kind of apologized to her for all of that, says that he will make sure they stay together outside of this house. Lyric is devastated to even think about potentially losing him this week. And I will say, I do want to bring this up because other people have. Lyric is an entirely different person in the diary room. Like, it's generally insane how night and day her on the live feeds are versus her in the diary room. On the live feeds, Lyric is like, oh, it's me, Lyric, and I talk very soft, and, I have this, like, Disney Channel type voice all the time, and then when she's in the diary room, there's this confidence in her voice. It feels a lot more intentional with what she's doing, and it really makes me enjoy Lyric more as a player. I have not admittedly liked her as a person, because she kind of reminds me of a certain somebody, but on the live feeds, I don't know, who could it possibly be? I don't know.
Wait, I got distracted. Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I said Lyric reminds me of a certain person.
Are you talking shit about me?
Yeah, definitely you is who I'm talking about for sure.
Well, I'm very nice to people's face and behind their back, so yeah.
But anyway, yes, but like in the diary room, like I said, I'm enjoying her a lot more. I feel like there's more intentionality to what she's doing. I'm understanding the game she's playing more and really just showing she has a lot more potential as a game player than I thought she was. And I kind of do feel like, Mike, a lot of the stuff she's been saying on the feeds of like, oh, why can't we all just like, date in the house and things like that, and kind of wishing that she could get out of there. It's to kind of make her look less intimidating. It's to make
but it's also like you're saying, why can't we just stay in the house? Did you not watch Survivor All Stars, Lyric?
Right.
There's a reason you can't. I can't compete with the person you're sleeping next to every night.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if they were like, I don't know if they were whatever. But
they definitely were. There was.
I can't compete with that. Okay. Like, who are you gonna pick? You gonna pick me, or you gonna pick the person that you're snuggled up to every night, respectfully?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do I think some of like the relationship stuff was a little like, okay, I'm like, y'all known each other 2 weeks. Like, let's.
It's crazy. It's generally crazy.
You know what? Like, I don't want to be that person, but it's like y'all knew each other 2 weeks.
The fact we're talking about marriage on the eviction episode is insane.
And it's so like, I don't know. I don't want to be like that guy, but it was like a little late. They're laying on.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
You know what? More power to them. Hopefully it works out. But.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel like they have a better shot because, like, you look at like a Swaggy and a Bailey, for example. That was another one that like seemed like they were kind of rushing into things, and they're still married to this day. So, like,
well, I mean, ask D how long the showman lasts after you're off the show.
Right, like Brendan and
where is Austin?
Honestly, though, real question, like what happened to Austin? He kind of just disappeared. I hope he got his sandwich finally. That's all that matters, honestly.
So I mean, I like Lyric because when I first saw her, I was like, oh, she's just like the bubble voice, like kind of cartoon character.
Yeah,
but no, she's. I want to see if we get a little revenge tour
I feel like she just shows so much promise this week in a way that I just have not given her the proper credit for. And so, I mean, we really just got to give her flowers this week, because I really do think like she is one of the most impressive players of this week for sure. So Jason comes in. They kind of established that the three of them have to stick together. Rome is hoping that he can just get picked for veto, take Lyric off the block. And this was the big thing throughout the whole day is like, is Rome going to be the one picked for veto? And he is not picked for veto here. We see that Barrett and Angela are the ones who are chosen to play. So a generally like goated draw for the crossovers. Like generally could not have gone any better for them. We see Devens is ecstatic. He knows that they're going to backdoor, that he's going to backdoor Rome now. There's talks about potentially using the veto. Drew already's kind of pitching how like maybe they should just use it on Melody. We see that Drew also talks about how he's on board to get Rome out, but he's also kind of thinking through all scenarios and kind of setting himself up to play the middle. He thinks he has both groups in his back pocket. Mike, what's your take on Drew so far? I feel like
my God,
not a fan.
He's like, I don't know how to compare him. He's kind of sleazy, but like in a way, there's like the worst thing he could be is boring to me. He's definitely not.
Oh no.
But he's such a frat douche. Like, I love it. Like, what did he say to Julie tonight during, like, hey, what up, mama? Like, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So, like, it was kind of just like, ugh. Like, so he's like, he get like Drew Christie kind of is what I'm getting. From
oh my God.
Like, just this kind of like scummy, sleazy douche that you kind of want. You can't wait to see him get taken down a peg. But I think right now Drew actually might be playing one of the best games in the house.
Yeah, that's the thing for me with Drew is like I want to be annoyed by him, but I'm just
I am annoyed by him.
I'm so impressed by his gameplay and the way he's maneuvering that like I am a fan. I got to be honest. I like the way Drew is playing so far, and I do think he is doing the correct thing here. Unfortunately, he doesn't realize how bad of a sort of wake-up call is coming for him in the next
No, he won't realize until he wins an HOH and actually has to make a decision that's going to piss people off and then be like, oh, crap.
Oh, yeah, he's headed for a rude awakening in the next few weeks for sure, in a way that I think it just feels like inevitable at this point. It's not even like it's when it happens.
Yeah, and I want to see it. I want to see him.
Oh, for sure. So we then get to the veto comp, and it's yet another puzzle competition. We are in the 60s, and basically it's a rotating puzzle, Mike. The best kind of puzzle, of course, are the rotating pieces. We love when pieces rotate, especially when it is we especially love when the pieces rotate and it's like a 56-piece puzzle, but yet it still takes you like almost an hour to do it. Definitely hasn't happened to me before. Definitely didn't happen in a recent game I played or anything like that. But anyway, I digress. You know,
Hellraiser season 2. Make sure you guys apply.
Yes, definitely. But Jason nearly wins this comp, but he makes the classic mistake of trying to second guess himself, and it gives Devens just enough time to buzz in, and Devens does win the veto here. Mike, how do you feel about this? You know, it's usually not the greatest thing to win HOH and veto in the same week. Do you feel like Devens did the right thing here? Do you think you should just let like Jason win it? What do you think?
I mean, if you let Jason win it, then I think you're putting up Rome in a situation where he'd be on the block with Lyric and Melody, and he's, possibly more likely to win against those two. And then you have to put someone else up again. So I think the end shortest distance is a straight line. It's I win, my target's Rome. I'm going to do this. So at least now I have Rome and Jason there. So I have the main target and the backup there. So no, I think it was the right decision by Devens to win it, because I think it set up the goal of what he wanted to do. Is okay, I have plan A, plan B, and they're both going to be there no matter what, versus I have plan A. Okay, well, plan A is gone and plan B is gone. So now I'm working on C, maybe D, which is, I don't think you want to dig that far into the playbook this early.
Yeah, and especially with you having to put up like 4 people already, which already sucks. It's like I think ultimately he does the right thing in trying to in winning this veto here. He maybe could have tried to give it to like a Melody, but when it's between you and Jason like that, it's better to just buzz in than not. And I certainly think this is a better decision than something he does later, which we'll talk about, of course. But I guess we'll just get into it here because this is really where Lyric's game just really kicks into gear. Her and Rome are having this conversation where basically they know that very likely one of them is going to stay. One of them will obviously stay on the block. Rome pretty much figures he's going to be backdoored here, but he wants to do everything he can to ensure that Lyric is taken off the block. And so they kind of devise this plan that they're going to stage a fake breakup, essentially. They're going to tell multiple people that they broke up. And listen, there are things that Lyric does that I think is very impressive. This is not one of them. I don't really... I get the move here to an extent, but here's the thing. If you are going to fake something out like that, it has to be public, but also I think like you have to give a reasoning as to why you broke up, because like if I'm having a conversation with you and you're like, we know you're a showmance, like we know you're together and things like that, naturally the question's going to be, okay, how did it happen? Like what really went down? And it doesn't really seem like they thought of that part. They kind of,
and if your response is just, yeah, we broke up.
Yeah, Rome did a terrible job at this.
Yeah, well, you also can't do that until you're making googly eyes at each other at the dinner table or whatever.
And straight up making out in like storage rooms and things like that, and like fucking. In
like,
the
I'm sorry, like you're not going into the storage room together to discuss, strategy.
Yeah,
it's
right. You're not signing the divorce papers in the storage room. That's
I think it wasn't even good in theory.
Yeah, like I think the next thing that happens works really well. I think the whole like let's break up. I think if you're going to do that, there has to be a reason why you did it, and I think that they just should have come up with that. Now, Lyric goes about this much better than Rome does. Rome has this conversation with Kamu where he's like, "Yeah, man, it's really rough. I just don't really want to talk to her." And Kamu's like, "Yeah," but you can tell that Kamu doesn't really buy it. Lyric, on the other hand, really kills it here. She goes to Chuk, straight up like flirting with him. She's cuddling. She's working out with him to the point where they do not show this on the episode. I really wish they did, Mike. Chuk fully bought into this. Like Chuk actually thought that this was legitimate to the point where he walked in to the storage room yesterday to like the two of them making out, and he had this look on his face like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Why have I been falling for this all week? It was very funny to watch, and I really wish they would have shown it on the episode because it would have made this moment even better. But yeah, Chuk fully buys into this. Yash, not so much, but it's Yash, so who cares? Not a fan of Yash, by the way. For
me either. He's,
I don't think we should be telling women whether or not they should get surgeries if they feel uncomfortable with their bodies and things like that. But that's a whole other different discussion. Yeah, basically, he feels that again, she goes to work right away on Chuk, and it works out really well. But then she has this conversation with Devens, and here's the thing. I will give her all the credit for this conversation, but this was not a great pitch at first from Lyric, because she goes to him and basically gives him like, I think the most like bare bones pitch you could have given, where she basically says that like, not only does she want to build trust with him, that she knows that he's going to probably put Rome on the block. And so she wants him to use it on Rome. She feels like Rome's the reason that she went up. She wants to fully advocate for herself. And I think this is a good way of kind of separating herself from Rome. I think that this was actually a really good conversation. I don't think she did a bad job here at all. She also says that, if she were to win HOH, she wouldn't put him up. And Devens is like generally shocked about this. And this is when like, oh my God, she's actually getting through to him. Oh my God, this might actually work. Because he is even like, are you sure that that's going to happen? She walks away, and then he's like, why do I believe her? I don't know. I don't know why to believe her here. He's like, I don't know. Why do I believe her? And I'm sitting there too, like, I don't know, Devens. Why the fuck do you believe her? Literally, all she said was that she wouldn't put you on the block if she's HOH and that she wants Rome to go up, which, okay, maybe that part's true, but like, I don't feel like this was a good enough pitch for him to potentially take her off the block, but we still got to give her flowers here because
she got it done. She got it done. Like, whether it was a shit pitch or not, it worked.
No, exactly. And like when she had done this, I was like, okay, surely something's going to happen to like change their minds, right? Like he's not actually thinking about using the veto on her. That's not actually what's happening. And he has this conversation with Melody that's essentially kind of the same thing, but again is like a huge reason why I think he should have just used it on her, where basically she talks to him about how she wants to try to build trust with him. He tells her that he plans on using it, doesn't tell her who. He says that Rome's probably going to be going up and that she should be fine regardless. And he then brings up how he's worried if Rome comes back, he could soften the blow a bit if he decides to use it on Lyric. She tries to shut this down, but I think making a very astute point that's saying that if he were to use it on her, it's not going to change Rome's mind. If he wins the blockbuster, he's still going to be just as mad. If you're trying to buy favor with Rome, it's not going to happen. Again, I think this was a solid point from Melody. And I think this was actually a pretty decent conversation, but Drew then talks with him and really tries to advocate for Melody here, tries to bring up the fact that like, hey, she's alone. We could bring her over to our side. Kind of like what I was talking about before. Unfortunately, this has like the opposite effect on Rome, where instead what ends up happening is that basically now Devens is more concerned about Melody and Drew and now feels like because of the fact that they're getting so close that he needs to kind of like potentially break that up and leave Melody on the block. And Mike, I don't know, how do you feel about this? Because to me, this is obvious where it's like, if you feel that Melody's a problem, you just bring her over to your side knowing that Drew is close with her. And then you can eventually discard Melody at any point because you can just kind of blame her for stuff that happens in your alliance.
Well, yes, but also your fear that, Drew might be able to, I don't want someone who's more of a number for you than they are for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's something to keep an eye on at the moment, not something you necessarily have to take care of now, but I mean, Dee's won Survivor and done pretty damn good on the challenge. So I trust her reads, It's not, we're not in Suri territory where everything they say, I'm like, well, it's Suri, it's probably, but I trust D reads on this one.
I think that D is starting to get a little too paranoid about some things. I do think her read of Melody is correct. I think Melody has immense potential in the game. She's shown herself to be a real gamer. She's always thinking through like scenarios and things like that. She's always willing to like turn things around, pivot her game if she has to. So I do understand her point there. But again, it's the using the veto on Lyric part. I just don't understand. Like their whole reasoning is if we use this veto on Lyric, then we're going to have like half of Rome. We buy favor with him, but we're still putting up Rome. So he's still going to be upset. If he wins the blockbuster, then literally both half of the showmance is safe. And everything he wants to do is...
It's weird because it's like if Rome stays, at least we didn't make him go against his girlfriend. So maybe he won't be as mad that we put him in like, because I could see him being in a situation where it's like him, Lyric, and Jason on the block, and Rome wins the blockbuster. He's still in a bad position now because now his girl's probably gone. So at least like it's somewhat, but you're still putting me up. So it's like
exactly.
If I'm Rome and you really want me in a good position, you take Lyric off and don't put me up.
Right.
But what do I know? It's maybe he cares more about Lyric winning, so she could pay for the wedding. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a little frustrating because I understand. Well, I don't really understand it because it's like, again, I feel like this is a classic mistake we see in Big Brother where it's like, okay, well, if one half of the showmance is fine with us, then the other half will be fine with us and they'll forgive us. But it's like, that's just not how.
No, it's weird. And at the end of the day, who cares? Like,
exactly.
Like, they're like,
Yeah.
I put them up, they're going to go for me no matter. If you put me up, I'm going after you no matter what. Like,
yeah, and like again, like you said, I kind of do understand Dee's reasonings. I think out of the three, her reasoning makes the most sense. Where it's like, okay, I actually have a good bond with Lyric. I don't feel that way with Melody, and also secretly, I think Dee really wishes she put up Melody last week. I think a part of her is like, I kind of wish Melody went on the block. I don't think getting rid of Ashley was the right move. I think we have more of an in with her because I think that's true. I think if they had pulled Ashley in, I think they would be in an even better spot right now. Whereas she, by putting up Ashley and sending her out, now she kind of has this Melody problem. Whereas you could have just like nipped that in the bud right away because I don't know if Melody necessarily went last week, but there were definitely ways Melody could have gone. And I think, again, Dee is kind of thinking
Ashley was just such a hot mess. It was kind of like,
yeah,
you know, it's like if we can't trust you to keep your lips zip on something like, hey, we might be keeping you immediately, you know, how are we going to trust you when there's like really heavy stuff on the
exactly. So yeah, that's basically everything that happens on Wednesday. We do end here with Devens using it on Lyric and then putting up Rome, and again, just a crazy decision that it actually worked out, but that, you know, what Lyric did actually work out. But again, got to give her full credit for
good for her. She did it.
I will say in the next episode we're talking about, tonight's episode, she impresses me even more with some of the stuff that she does here. So first thing to talk about is we see that Devens is feeling this week has gone exactly as he wanted to with Rome going up. Lyric is also feeling bittersweet with Rome up, but knows that she kind of has to play for herself and is also hopeful that he can maybe pull out a blockbuster. We see Jason's actually happy Rome is on the block with him. He's got a great quote here where he talks about how it's a Brokeback Mountain scenario, but he can actually quit Rome. I thought that was a great line. We see the second that Devens used the vote to save Lyric, he knew he was going up as he feels it's a win-lose situation. He knows he's got the biggest target on his back, but also hoping that his allies can kind of come through the woodwork. We see Taylor talks to Melody about how she's likely fine. And I mean, you're right, but clearly Taylor didn't want Melody to be fine, which we'll talk about. But basically, she's feeling less confident against Jason, but she feels good against Rome. Drew is kind of hoping Jason can go home with Rome continue to be public enemy number one. He jokes with Melody that she should throw the blockbuster so she can go. And yeah, I mean, I think that would be best case scenario for Drew is if Jason were to go, because it's like, I still have that pull with Rome. I still have Melody here. Obviously that doesn't happen, which we'll talk about, but that was definitely something that potentially could happen. We see Lala talks with Lyric about how they need to worry about what they're doing moving forward. Taylor would like to keep Rome if it's Rome and Melody, but knows that she will need to get other votes to make it happen. Mike, let's talk about Taylor here. What do you think was? Do you think she had the right idea in trying to keep Rome around when she wasn't even on the list of people that he put as like potential options to not put up this week?
It is worth a shot, and I think Taylor, as someone who feels she's like just there, wanting to do something, but you know, I respect the effort. You know, it was worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, I do think ultimately Taylor, if she's able to get the votes, if she's in a better position, this is a fine idea. You know, let's try to turn the vote around. Taylor just doesn't have the power to do that kind of thing right now, and I don't know what effect it's really going to have on her with what ends up happening here. But we'll discuss that more.
I mean, I get wanting to do something flashy and try to put your, but you can't just do that. You have to have the clout and the social capital to do that. And she just she doesn't have that.
Right. Like, this is not Chelsea flipping the vote to Tucker. This is not Rachel putting up, Riley last season and making sure Riley goes.
Those moves, like, you have to lay the groundwork. You can't just build the house. You need, and she just didn't have that.
Yeah, especially in the blockbuster era, it's just going to be very hard to pull something off like this if you don't have that social capital already. And it's not to say Taylor doesn't have that. She's just not quite there.
Yeah, it's not even saying she can't get that. She just doesn't have it now.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of her mistake here. Lyric, in the meantime, is really going to work trying to get the votes for Rome. She thinks that she can get Taylor, Yash, Lala, and potentially whoever comes off the block, but they would potentially need a sixth person in order to do that. Which, I think we kind of knew that this was kind of grasping at straws. I think we knew that, like, if Rome was on the block, he's probably fucked. But, you give us a little bit of intrigue here. But that's not really the big thing to talk about. The big thing to talk about is finally on the episode, they are showing all of the chaos going on within the tool shed. Because as I discussed before, this is why I don't think when a lot of people say, oh, it's going to be a steamroll, I would have said that at the beginning of the week. I don't know if I can agree with that anymore, just because of the way things are sort of headed, where we see this moment where Angela talks with Devens and Haley about how obvious it is who is with Rome. And Drew is in the mix with these people, and she's very nervous about him with kind of like what he's told them, feeling like no one is onto him, but she is seeing right through it and really feels like Drew is somebody that she needs to worry about. Dee is also really wanting Melody to go home with how close Drew and Melody are getting. She likes it personally, but feels it is compromising the tool shed, that he's kind of running the house and that it's obvious that that's what's going on. We get a moment later on also with Drew and Barrett as well, because Mallory and Barrett are all similar to Melody and Drew. Mallory and Barrett are also getting very close here. We see this conversation with them, how she's really worried that Dee could put her up, and she kind of wants to put up Dee at some point. Barrett is kind of feeling like he's backed into a corner now because of the fact that he was the last one included within the tool shed, and that's kind of left him feeling a certain type of way. And Mallory then asks who he would rather go up. She brings up how Rome needs to stay on that side because he wants to go for big targets. And we then get the moment of Drew and Barrett and them kind of seeing the writing on the wall and making this final two with a plan to go for Kamu, Haley, and Chuk. They really want to take a shot at Red Corner. They feel like those are the people that are kind of in their way, and they're correct in saying this. Like, Drew has the pull with Kamu. Barrett doesn't really connect with any of those people. He's just not there with any of them, so it's absolutely the right move for him to do that, and they kind of want to start chipping away at the vets eventually. Drew would also like for Rome to win the blockbuster, to kind of drop a nuke on the tool shed, and this is where I'm going to bring up some stuff that I know you said you're not quite as caught up on the feeds. This moment you showcase, but not quite as accurately as they could have. The real reason why this all started is because of the fact that the second that Drew told Angela about the Jason thing, she was kind of doubting it. She felt like he was trying to like cause a lot of paranoia. And since then, she's been very worried about Drew. And by proxy now, Dee is also getting very concerned about Drew, to the point where this is kind of just all they talk about now. If Angela and Dee are strategizing, most of the time, it's about how they don't trust Drew and how they need to put Drew up, where they've even potentially discussed like winning HOH and backdooring him and things like that, which feels very reminiscent to like Heisum and Big Brother 25. And here's the thing. Are they correct about Drew playing all sides? Yes. Is Drew going to be a problem for them down the line? Yes. But very similar to like Heisum and Big Brother 25, Drew is still most loyal to the crossovers. It's actually Barrett that they need to start being more concerned about. And they are worried about Barrett because of the fact that like Dee and Barrett kind of had this thing. Dee kind of backed out of it. She realized that he was, well, didn't realize, but like she realized he was straight and things like that. And she didn't really want to entertain any kind of connection in that way. And they haven't really been able to talk things through since then. And because of that, things have been kind of rocky between Dee and Barrett, to the point where Barrett is now getting dropped into the mix of these discussions with taking out Drew. Barrett's also being considered in those discussions. And I want to hear your opinion on this, Mike, because I've seen a lot of people conflicted where I've heard some people say that they feel that like Drew and Barrett going against the Toolshed is bad because they don't have the proper connections to do it, and they kind of need the Toolshed. Or now others have said that it's good that they're doing that because of the fact that like they're going to take a shot at them at some point, and they're kind of setting themselves up. How do you feel about this whole thing? Because I personally feel that this is a doomed alliance at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I think their reads are Barrett's reads completely right on this.
Yeah.
If let's just say this group steamrolls, Barrett's getting 8th or 7th or 8th place. Like, like dude's cooked. Yeah. So I think you don't take a shot now, but you set yourself up for it later. So I think Barrett is actually on point here. So.
Yeah, and I think him aligning with Drew, I mean, I said it in week 1, like all those two needed to do was lock in, and they're going to be in like one of the best positions in the house. And that's exactly what's happening, where people were skeptical of Barrett and Drew at the beginning of the week. I think now it's starting to subside a bit, and that's now unfortunately gone fully to his alliance. But I also do fault D for not trying to lock back in with Barrett and having a conversation with him and saying like, hey, I know things kind of got awkward between us, but I still want us to like work together. I still really, value you in the Toolshed and things like that. I do feel that Angela and Dee are getting a little too focused on like Kamu, Haley, and Chuk, and not enough on like Drew and Barrett, and that's starting to hurt them a bit. So again, there's a lot of interesting developments here, and it's all just making me think that like I do not think the Toolshed is going to steamroll in the way that we think they are. If they are,
it's great. Yeah.
If they are, it's going to be the most dysfunctional like steamroll of all time, because they're always going to be wanting to take a shot at each other, and it's just never going to happen. Very similar to like Danny and like Big Brother 22, where like they didn't really want her in that alliance. They wanted her out. They were never able to take the shot at her. And then finally, when it whittled down to just them, she eventually went. I could see that very well happening to Drew or Barrett, or the opposite end, where like Drew or Barrett win and they take out one of Angela or Dee, because Barrett's gone as far as to say that Dee's actually the first of the vets he wants out now. So yeah, again, there's a lot of tension here, and I'm very interested to see how it's all going to play out. Again, I don't think that Angela and Dee are going about this correctly. I think it's good to have this paranoia on Drew and Barrett, but I think they're spreading it a bit too much to other people, to where eventually Drew and Barrett are going to find out what's going on. And the first opportunity that they can, when someone wins HOH, they're going to jump ship, and it's going to dismantle the whole thing. Like, I see the writing on the wall here, Mike, and I don't think it's going to go. I don't think we're going to be talking about Toolshed and greatest alliances of all time. I don't.
Which is great. Like, I mean, hey, I'm all for it. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I also think that, in my opinion, in the Blockbuster era, it's much harder for an alliance to actually steamroll the game, because there's just so many opportunities for evictions.
Especially last season. I mean, we thought the judges were potentially going to do that, and then all of a sudden they throw the stupid White Locust thing in, and that kind of.
And then Morgan locked in and made sure they still did.
Yeah, and good for her, but it was not exactly. So,
yeah, I think another example I'd probably give is like Collective, or what was it, Pentagon and Big Brother 26. Like, those were alliances that seemed like they were going to be like the alliance of the season, and then all it takes is for Cedric to go and Brooklyn to go right after, and suddenly it's like, oh, we're looking at a whole new season. So like, again, like right now, yes, it does seem like the Toolshed, they've won 2 HOHs. We haven't really gotten a chance to see, is there potential for the other side of the house? But it's still early days. I think there's definitely plenty of avenues to where.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
in the next few weeks.
It all comes down to who wins these challenges and who does what when. So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so that's everything before we get to the Blockbuster. Now, before we talk about the Blockbuster, Mike, Grace is saying you would sit out of the Blockbuster if you were to compete. I would like you to weigh in on this.
Okay, so I'm sick of hearing about this. So there was a, there was a time in Distortion season 5 where I was unjustly sat out of a Tower of Hanoi competition, and I got voted out because my tribe sucked ass and didn't win without me, and I got voted out because of it. So Grace is once again pouring salt in that wind. Anyway, the blockbuster.
That and the cats that she ate for dinner are just ruining everything.
Exactly.
Anyways, back to the blockbuster. Yeah, so the blockbuster that we got here was basically the exact same as the one we got in Big Brother 27 with Keanu last season. They didn't even
Big Brother 26 too. They did this challenge too.
Did they? When did they do this one?
I think they did.
They probably did, but it felt more like, I feel like the one they did last season, it felt different enough to where it was like, it still felt like it's like, okay, you're doing something different. This literally just felt like a rinse and repeat. Like they changed some of the wording.
Well, I mean, also too, I mean, last season's kind of was too. They did the similar challenge to this in 26. How many people? It was the first AI to read how many who came up the most. And then now I'm checking the blockbusters from 26 because I feel like they definitely did do.
Yeah, that's what they all say, Grace. We'll believe it when we see it. I thought this was interesting because like they literally like just changed up some of the wording, but the setup was like exactly the same. The structure of the comp was exactly the same. But ultimately, you know, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen from the start here. We just see somebody lock in from the beginning. It was obvious what was going to happen. Mallory did not compete in this comp, Mike. So no, Mallory did not win this block.
I guess I was wrong that they did not do this challenge in 26.
I was going to say I didn't think they did, but because I didn't remember them.
It might have been like something, but I feel like I definitely remember this before.
There might have been a variation.
Last season, I know Keanu won it.
Yeah, Keanu won it, and that's where Zach went, which, you know, was a great eviction. This was also a very fun outcome where we see, like I said, from the beginning, there's an obvious winner. Jason wins the blockbuster here, and I thought this was really exciting to see. You know, we really see Jason kind of lock in, but what I also think this signifies, Mike, is it really does kind of show like who is the person on their side that's kind of like their weapon right now. The person that you could say is like the biggest threat to the tool shed. I kind of do think it's Jason because he's actually very good at winning stuff. He nearly won the veto. He wins the blockbuster here. You know, he's got this axe to grind now because he was on the block. I think he's going to recover nicely.
If he wins HOH this week, that house is going to be on fire.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think he's definitely somebody that the tool shed needs to watch out for. And I do think that, you know, even though who left is great for them, I think Jason leaving would have been equally as good for them because he is going to be a lot more messy with the way that he goes about things. And, you know, when you have the target that Rome does, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, people know that Rome's a big threat. They're going to want to take him out eventually. But someone like a Jason is even more of a threat because he's so unpredictable in that way. And seeing now that he's also able to win competitions as well as he is, it makes him even more threatening. So I thought this was a really great moment. I love seeing Jason get the win here, but obviously now it comes down to Melody and Rome, and the vote count was not what I expected. I think not really what anybody expected. I thought it was actually gonna be a little more close because something they did not show on the episode is that Taylor actually did convince herself that she had the votes for that she had the votes for Melody to go no matter the scenario, and mainly between Jason and Melody she thought that she had the votes here. She did not. They just were telling her otherwise. But yeah, it's a 12-1 vote, but not the person that you think would vote for Rome is who voted for Rome to stay.
Good luck convincing people of that one.
Yeah, Taylor votes for Rome to stay here. And I mean, I was pretty shocked about this. I thought, okay, Taylor's doing this. Surely Lala's going to come along. Maybe like, you know, somebody
at
like
least maybe 3 or 4.
Right.
Votes.
Maybe Jason comes along here. Maybe, you know, Lyric's probably going to keep. Oh, Lyric's voting him out. Okay. How often do we see that happening? But yeah, I mean, I think this was really interesting outcome. I think, you know, great for Lyric that she did this because she can kind of lie and say that I kept him and no one's going to believe otherwise. So I think that's really good for her. But I also really do feel concerned for Taylor here. I don't know if Taylor's going to be. We see Taylor have a conversation with Lyric at the end of the episode. We don't know what she said. But okay, they weren't together at that point though, so I don't know if I count that. But yes, you're correct. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what this means for Taylor. Do you think that Taylor's going to get away with this? Do you think she's going to own up to it too much, and people are going to potentially like figure out it was her? What do you think the outcome of this is?
I feel like she's such a non. I don't mean to be mean, but I feel like she's just such a non-factor. It's like, you know, it's almost like Jake in 45. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's more Yash for me.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel like with her, she's very, like, she's so out of the loop, you know. It's like, like, I don't know. I don't want to be mean because Taylor seems like a nice person and I've been shitting on her for the last hour. But
yeah, I don't know. I think Taylor has potential. I just think that, again, same thing we talked about before.
I think she's so far behind from the rest of the group.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, I think one of two things happened here. Either she was not told what was going to happen in this vote and she just assumed, okay, we're voting out Melody and tried to keep the vote on Melody, or she just really wanted Melody to go and she still was like, fuck it, I'm still going to try to vote her out. Who cares what effect it has on me? And I like the fact that she's independent. I like that she's doing her own thing. I don't think this was a hinky vote. Yeah, that too, Grace. Yeah, she is very much too busy doing that as well. And that's, don't love that about her. But I liked everything about her other than that, but that's something I definitely have not loved. So Rome goes here. He publicly admits his relationship with Lyric, which was such a nothing burger. Everyone knew that this was happening. I don't know why he made such a big deal out of this. But he does have a pretty decent interview here with Julie where she kind of talks him through, some things.
It was a little awkward.
Oh, it was definitely awkward. I thought he answered things very well. I just don't know why she made such a big deal out of her father being this, her father being this, this artist from this one-hit wonder he's never even heard of. Like, I thought that was especially really funny.
It's because Julie's weird. But
she tried to make a whole show out of it, and he was just like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, and I thought Rome handled himself very well in this interview. I like especially what he said about Devens and how he really respects the fact that he, got played and things like that by him. I thought that was really good. And overall, I think Rome does leave on a pretty decent note. The one thing to talk about here before we get into like predictions for the week, because we don't know who's HOH right now or anything like that. The one thing I do want to bring up is that we do get something at the end of this episode about Big Brother Unlocked tomorrow, where apparently they're going to reveal all of the powers that are potential.
I don't like it.
I kind of do, because I feel like this is going to backfire on them. Because if I see all these powers revealed, I'm just never going to vote for the BB Time capsule, because I'm going to be like, I don't want anybody to have these things.
But the problem is, but then like the stupid casuals are going to vote for the people we don't like, and they're going to go and get it. I don't know. I like the element of surprise. Like, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like they're desperate. I feel like they really want people to vote for the time capsule. They know.
Or they really want people to watch Unlocked, because who the fuck actually watches that show?
It's actually gotten better, I'd say. I think, the one they did this season was actually pretty good, especially them having Jerry O'Connell in there and also having less filler. I think Taylor Hale also carries it really well. So I actually like Unlocked. I just don't like Unlocked being I don't like them forcing Unlocked on me.
That part, yeah.
That's kind of the issue. It's like, if Unlocked's great for what it is, I don't know why they need to consistently push for it. It's like, if you don't think people are watching, just do something else with it. I've said it so many times, like, Unlocked would be so much more better served if it was on Paramount Plus and it was like 2 hours long, and you could really cycle through coverage of like what happened on the feeds throughout the week, stuff they didn't show on the episode. I think that's the best version of Unlocked. The version that we get is just not really working, because so many people are spiteful towards it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But other than that, that's pretty much all we have to discuss. Oh, I did find it funny they brought out Ross Matthews because it's pretty clear we know who they wanted to win CBB 1 because they don't even mention Marissa at all. They
did mention Marissa.
Oh, did they? I didn't.
Yeah, because they said you lost to Marissa and Ross. Like, oh, you're opening up that wound again.
Oh, okay. So even more so, they want to kind of rub salt in the wound there and be like, yeah, we know you didn't win, Ross. We kind of wish you did, and now here's your spot on Unlocked. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's the episode. Mike, let's just get into it though. Who are you rooting for to be HOH? And we have a few hours.
I need a Jason. I need a Jason HOH.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm firmly in the camp where, like, I do not want to see another Toolshed win HOH. I would love to see someone like a Jason. I think a Lyric would honestly be really fun. I would love to see what Lyric would do. I would love a Melody HOH. I think would be really good. Mallory HOH would be crazy, honestly, because she's talked about putting up like all the vets and things like that. So I think that would be really interesting, especially for
give me like a I don't know, just like the most randomest. I mean, I don't think he's gonna win, but give me a Drew because I want to see him actually have to.
Drew would be interesting because Drew has been saying he wants to throw it. If Drew somehow fumbled his way into a win, I would be really interested to see what he's gonna do because I don't think he's even thought about that.
No.
So. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying, Grace. Like, she's really trying to drive home the idea that, like, yeah, Ross should have won. So, and I mean, Ross definitely should have won. And yeah, I agree. I would love to see. I would love to see Lyric win. That feels like classic Big Brother. It's like Lyric wins, goes back on her promise. Devens looks like an idiot, and Devens ends up going. I think that would be really fun TV if that were to happen. So. We'll see. Like I said,
I never watched Celebrity Big Brother, so I'm just gonna take y'all's word for it.
It's pretty. The first 2 seasons are pretty good. The third one, don't watch the third one. That one basically was the death of the show.
The only thing I know about it was I voted Chuk to stay. No, you voted Chuk to go.
Oh, that's a great moment. Yeah, the first 2 seasons are pretty fun though. I would recommend it. I think it was fun for when we had it. I kind of wish it would come back, but Celebrity Big Brother 3 ruined any chance of that really happening.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I need a Jason HOH would be tough. Except Angela would probably go up.
Yeah, Jason would be great. And as far as the BB time capsule goes, again, I don't give a fuck about it. I'm just going to be straight up. It's too early in the season for me to care. If they did this like week 4 or 5, started around there, I think that would have resulted in like that would actually give me incentive to vote. I just don't care enough about where we're at right now. It's too early on. Things are still like very up in the air. I just don't have an opinion on things enough. Like I don't care enough about things to vote for the time capsule. So I'm sure one of the vets will get it. Good on them.
That's the problem when you're doing something like this. It's like we're attached to Angela, Devens. Like I don't have even if I like people in this house, like your typical fan is going to be more connected to these vets. So like I feel like this would have worked better in an all newbie season.
Yeah, and that's kind of been my thing too with this is that it's fairly obvious that this was implemented because of the vets, and that's why.
I mean, especially week 1, like who?
I mean, Angela was literally campaigning for them in her shout out tonight.
Who's the viewing public going to be mostly attached to week 1?
Exactly. And like they can try to give the Rome and Lyric like sympathy edit as much as they can, but Rome's out of the house now, so like it doesn't even fucking matter.
Like we're attached, people are gonna be more attached to Angela because we know them.
Right. Like
this would work in an all newbie season or an all returnee season.
Especially in a season where like you're trying to pull in the Survivor audience too. It's like if you're trying to like you have that audience, they're naturally inclined to vote for people that they know. People like to stick to what they know. They feel comfortable with that.
It's just a natural thing.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. Like I said, I think the best version of this twist is one that is introduced like halfway through the season when like everyone's been established. We're still just as attached to like the newbies as we are to the vets. I brought up Big Brother 18 as an example of like they did this twist with care packages like towards the jury phase, and I think that was like the perfect point to do it because everybody was like well known at that point, and we had our.
I think it's tough no matter what, because like it doesn't matter because we're always gonna be. So I think either an all newbie or all returnee season is when you do something like this.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's just too early to decide this stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, we don't know who's HOH, despite the fact that they said feeds after the episode. It noticed that the feeds that were on YouTube got deleted the second the episode ended. So I guess they're just like, fuck it, we're not even gonna trick you anymore. We're just not gonna do it. And I think it's pretty it's pretty counterproductive to be like, hey, we're really utilizing the feeds this season, to then just like not have them air. I don't know why you can't just like show the little bit before they do the HOH. We know there's stuff there, but we gotta show little bits of it unlocked, and I don't know, the whole thing's ridiculous. But that's a whole other discussion. But yeah, other than that, that's the episode. That's really all there is to discuss for this week. Very interesting week, I will say. I do wish that the week leading up to the vote was a little bit more exciting. I think things kind of cratered once the veto was used on Lyric, but I think we had a pretty exciting eviction. I really like the way things end up going down, and I'm just really hoping that we see a non-Toolshed win HOH next, just to keep things a lot more exciting and unpredictable moving forward. But before we do close things out here, Mike, if there's anything specifically you want to promote or talk about, go right ahead.
I have nothing to promote. I don't do anything. I host an org, but we're not hosting apps right now. So
yes, contrary to what I said in the last video, there are not apps out for Paradox yet. However,
yeah, don't be a lying bitch like Kevin and actually apply when you say you're going to. But thank you for having me.
Yes, Paradox, great game. If you love Big Brother, definitely consider applying it. Also, if you love Sesame Street, you should apply, because that's what the next.
It is a Sesame Street themed org. Yes, Paradox 4 Sunny Days.
Yes, if you ever watched Big Brother and felt it was edited like a Sesame Street episode, which a lot of the time it is, and you felt like, I kind of want to get in on that. There you go. That's even more incentive.
We went from Yu-Gi-Oh to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Barbie. Now we're at Sesame Street. So
exactly, we're really just covering all sides of things. I do want to quickly shout out my game that I host, Radical Survivor. We're doing a mini now. Apps are closed for it, but the mini will be next Friday, and it's going to be very exciting. It's American Idiot themed, so if you're a fan of Green Day or like the musical American Idiot, definitely check it out. It's going to be a great time. It's like a 3-day mini. It won't be on this channel. It'll be on the channel Radical Survivor. You can watch it on there. But yeah, very fun time. Big move. Our first game on Discord. So very much looking forward to that. But yeah, other than that, that's over this video. If you are interested, if you did like this video, I have a ton of other TV and movie related content out there. Big Brother, Survivor reviews, as well as trying to catch up on new releases from 2026 and things like that. I do plan to do a catch-up video overall of different shows and movies that have come out this year. I have a specific way I'm going to do that. I'm trying to get that done at the end of this month. Don't quote me on that, but it'll at least be in like a week, so you can look forward to that when that does roll around. Other than that, so for this video, hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said, definitely consider checking my channel. Love to be a part of all of that. But other than that, guys, for this video, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you guys later. Okay, bye.
Later, bitches.